Hey everyone, welcome to the Fin Factor live edition. This is the post game for round 3, game 5 between the St. Louis Blues and the San Jose Sharks. So it was bad.
I'm so glad I went to that game. So glad. I thought for sure for an odd number game,
You'd think.
that they would have done something.
Mm-hmm.
That was just painful.
See, and it just goes to show, folks, take the stats and throw them out the window because they don't mean a thing. Anybody can show up at any point in time, and whether it's an odd or even, or it's a home or away, or whatever the case may be, nothing is guaranteed. So
It was very disappointing. I mean, I thought if they could have scored one goal at the end of the second to make it 3-1,
yeah,
they could have pushed in the third period and gotten 2 more at least and gone to overtime, and they didn't. And
Right.
I thought, okay, maybe in the first 5 minutes of the third period they get a goal, and they ended up getting, a 5-on-3 penalty kill instead. So they didn't score, obviously. That was a bad game.
it was an ugly, ugly game. Just really bad all the way around. It sucks because right off the hop there, Evander Kane hits the post, and if it goes just another inch or half inch or so inside, I think it still gets past the glove of Jordan Binnington, but it probably goes post and in as opposed to post and wide.
The first 5-6 minutes, the Sharks were absolutely dominant, and kind of like what I had said after Game 3 going into Game 4, if the Sharks could weather the storm of St. Louis, because you knew they were going to come out hard, they could probably win the game, and they almost did. And same thing for St. Louis. If St. Louis could weather the storm of the Sharks, they knew they were going to come out hard at home.
Right.
In the first 5-10 minutes of the game, they could probably win, and they squeaked out just a garbage goal, and the first goal just awful turnover for the Sharks that turned into a deflection goal. I think it was off of Carlson, right?
I'm not sure if it deflected, but Jones certainly couldn't see it. You can see on the replay where Jones was kind of leaning, like trying to look around Carlson, and the puck goes the opposite direction, and he goes to try to make the save, but it's too late. It's one thing that we've said, get in the goalie's eyes. I think the Sharks got the wrong message. You're supposed to get into Binnington's eyes. So, again, it's one of those things where it kind of bites Martin Jones, and it sucks because I don't think Jones really deserves to get, any sort of bad press on this one. I think he played a decent game. He didn't look horrible. The only thing that people are calling out was the one where it was a shot and a save, and he kind of poke checks it out, and it goes right to Jaden Schwartz.
That was just unlucky.
Who's all by himself.
Yeah.
And that's my problem with that goal. Jaden Schwartz is on the post by himself.
I think he had Dylan in his sights on the outside there, and he thought that he was right there. And I'm sure St. Louis kind of scouted this, that Jones probably likes, if it's an easy kind of save where he could have covered it but didn't, and he pushes it out to the side, he would. And he did, and they picked it up, and they scored. That's probably exactly what that was videotape, watching the tape, and videotape, like this videotape.
Sneak someone down
digital
low on the
tape.
post.
Right, exactly. And it worked. So it got them one goal. And that was the fourth goal or third goal?
That was the second one, I think.
Second goal.
I think that was the second goal. I could be wrong. Tell me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
The third goal was definitely the Tarasenko breakaway, or the one that he got hauled down on the breakaway. It turns out to be a penalty shot.
Right.
Again, I have a hard time blaming Jones on that one because
that was a snipe.
Penalty shot.
You're against an elite sniper on the other team. If you save that, that's amazing. I mean, that's almost not a guaranteed goal, but it's pretty close.
The funny thing about that goal too is where did he shoot the puck?
Glove side high.
High glove, and that seems to be, again, the thing that we've brought up on this show before. I don't like bringing it up because I don't want to give them information, but
they might.
I know. I'm just saying.
At the game, when I was watching the replay, it looked like to me that Jones was cheating a little bit and leaning, going the other way away from his glove, trying to force him. And I think Jones kind of does that a lot, where he kind of cheats in a way and forces you to shoot the other way and then goes that way.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
So he's baiting them to shoot over high glove by leaning to his blocker side.
Exactly.
Okay.
And if they go blocker side, he's going to completely block it.
Because he's already leaning
if you
that
will.
way. Yeah.
Right. So I see a lot. There's similarities between hockey and soccer, and I see a lot of goalies, because I used to be a goalie, so a lot of goalies would do that in soccer, where you kind of force the person to go the other way because you completely cover one side, so you're leaving one side open. It's almost like you're daring them to shoot, and then you go that way and block it.
And the interesting is too, like if you're kind of leaning that one way, you're kind of loaded your body up on that side, so you can spring back to the direction.
Exactly.
Too, so, Well, I mean, I don't know if that's what he was thinking, but it didn't work. So, but again, it's a penalty shot with Vladimir Tarasenko taking the shot.
If you're St. Louis and you have a penalty shot, the one guy you'd probably want to take it is Tarasenko.
Absolutely.
He is an elite sniper, and he sniped. I mean,
Did his
look
job.
where he placed it, right?
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't like it was a bad placement where Jones just couldn't get his glove in time.
Yeah.
It was an elite snipe.
Yeah.
From an elite player. So,
Absolutely.
Great goal by him. And it's unfortunate because the Blues power play, yeah, they gave up a power play goal, but it was a 5-on-3 again tonight that they scored on. I don't think their power play is very great. So I think this kind of goes to, I think one of the topics for GM's discussion is if there's an awarded penalty shot, if you get the option of a power play or a penalty shot.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. So that puts the onus on the coach in a way of choosing, I want my power play. Because if there's a breakaway with 3 minutes left and you're up 2-1, do you want the power play to kill the clock, or do you want a penalty shot to make it 3-1? I'd take the power play in that situation, but in the game, if it's 2-1 and it's in the second period, you'd want the penalty shot to kind of put yourself up 3-1.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think that would be going to a completely different topic, but going to a topic of the GM discussion, I think that would be a good option to have.
Anything to detract from the current game would be acceptable for me. So no, again, like what I saw was the Sharks just did not look like they were engaged after that first period, the first 5 or 6 minutes, whatever you're saying there. It just looked like they were chasing the puck the whole night, the whole day rather. There was no urgency to get to the puck, and when there was, the Blues were moving it around fast enough that we just couldn't catch up to where the puck was going. And the pass is always going to be faster than someone skating. That's one of the reasons that Joe Thornton is still relevant in this league, because he's such an elite passer in the game. You don't have to have speed when you're passing faster than they can skate. And that's what we saw from the Blues today, was they were working the puck around a lot better than the Sharks were. The Sharks were not able to keep up with them in terms of just skating alone, and then also basically just chasing the play is what it looked like. Also, every single time they had the puck and they were trying to bring it into the offensive zone, it felt like, maybe I'm wrong, but it felt like they were just getting stuffed at the blue line. And anytime they did enter the zone, they're getting outnumbered on the boards. Pucks just didn't seem like they were sticking to our sticks. It looked like we were overpassing in a few situations, and the shots on goal that we did have didn't really look too dangerous. So
I think part of that is because the Sharks were down. I think because the Blues were up at least 2 goals, 3 goals at some point, they're just going to stuff that neutral zone and really stifle the Sharks. And it's unfortunate, because if it was the other way, the Sharks score in the first 5 minutes, right? They had those couple chances, it would be a completely different game where they would open up and try and get more offense.
Right.
I mean, again, it's like, to me, this St. Louis Blues team is like playing the Anaheim Ducks or the LA Kings, where they're big, heavy, not very fast team that likes to clog up lanes and punish you in the boards. And the Sharks just can't quite get the answer. I do want to give a shout out. $1.99 from, is it Vathrin or Valhan? I can't read that. Vathrin. Meeting Aaron was my only highlight of Game 5. Thank you.
That's
you
how
for meeting
bad
me.
It was? Really?
It was bad. It was the arena. I mean, I don't know. My ears are kind of ringing. I think I'm talking a little loud, but I don't think if you've ever been to not even a Game 5, but a day game, right? The crowd is just not quite into it like it is for a night game. A night game, I think you get a little bit more of an adult crowd, less kids. And no offense to kids, because we have kids and I love kids, but it's a different crowd and a different vibe when it's a night game, and people have been eating and drinking beforehand and going to the game, right? They're a little bit more loud and a little bit more into it and stuff, a little bit more rowdy. Today it was just, I mean, there was nothing to cheer about, right?
Yeah.
A couple hits. That's about it. A couple posts, but you don't really cheer for posts.
Yeah. I will say this, in terms of the hits, it did look like Evander Kane threw the body a couple times. That wasn't bad.
I went to the game with Marshall, hashtag bring Marshall back, right? I went to the game with Marshall and his girlfriend Michelle, and I said to Marshall, I said, I think something's wrong with Evander Kane. I think he's favoring, I think it was his left shoulder, because he's kind of hitting or shooting with his right's okay, but he's favoring his left. And not even 5 seconds later, he lays that huge hit on somebody where he just lays him out, and I go, I guess he's fine. I guess he's fine. I'm completely wrong. He's healthy,
he's
or
got
his
the
shoulder's
painkillers
fine.
going.
Right. Yeah. So I don't know. He did look a little bit. I don't want to say healthy.
More active.
More active.
Yeah.
Better. More active with his shoulders.
A little more physical.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes. Less scared to drop a hit on
There
somebody.
You go. Yeah. I saw him skate behind the net and kind of knock Bennington over on one occasion too. I'm sure Blues fans are very happy about that, but
he got his way.
Yeah. Move, rookie.
All right, we got some more super chats that came in.
Oh, cool.
Oh, sorry.
So Joe's not here today, so this is Jason filling in.
Hey,
Super Jason on the
producer
mic.
Jason.
So we got Raider Rich and Christ, $2. Thank you.
Thank you.
He wrote no. I don't know what he said, but no Yodas Vatos. Some Spanish help there.
No Yodas. Yeah, it's not a Star Wars show. If you'd like to watch Star Wars, however, there is the show called
Black Series Rebels.
There you go.
Yes.
I'm not sure.
Black Series Rebels, where super producer Jason. You want to say it, Jay?
Yeah, my buddies down in L.A. Run a Star Wars show, just a little over, I think they're going on 2 years now. But if you were a fan of Star Wars and collectibles and learning about the franchise some more, Black Series Rebels, they're on YouTube, they're on podcasts. We modeled our show after them.
I don't think that's where that comment was going, but
that's where we took it.
We took Spanish in high school. So if it says Yoda, I'm guessing it's a little green man.
Solo hablo un poquito español.
Wow, that's way more than I can say.
Anyways, moving on, we have another super chat from Joe is one too many. He sent us $1 our way.
Thanks, Joe.
And then followed that up saying he didn't know how to use super chat. So maybe he meant to put 100 and he put only one.
Like I said,
we'll let that go,
makes
Joe.
perfect.
Yeah.
Just keep trying, buddy. You'll get there. You'll get it, okay?
There's a lot of chat about, is this a team that needs to be blown up? We started our show talking about this. Here we are, steps from the Stanley Cup? And
I was I was thinking about this today before I went to the game, was not to get ahead of ourselves, but if the Sharks won a Stanley Cup this season, would you feel as bad for Thornton retiring, Pavelski moving on somewhere else, and Karlsson not coming back? Three big things.
Would I feel bad about all three of those things
I'm just
happening?
saying, would you feel like if the Sharks didn't win and that happened, those three guys moved on, went somewhere else?
Oh, I see.
Whereas if they won a cup this year and those three guys moved on, this is kind of like the conundrum, right? Like, if you look at Pittsburgh, Chicago, who else won a cup in the last couple of years where where they tanked and got high draft picks, in Pittsburgh's example is Sidney Crosby. They got lucky in the lottery, and then in Chicago's they got Patrick Kane, and then a couple years later they win a cup, right? So the big question is always, should you? There's a couple ways to go around it. Is if you tank and you get a couple high round draft picks for 1-2 years of tanking, and then you come back up and then you win a cup, or would you rather be like the Sharks where you're consistent and adding players every now and then, kind of stocking the cupboard in a way, right? And you're being competitive every year and you have a chance every year. So it's not to say it's a guarantee that you get a high draft pick and win a cup. Hello, Edmonton. But you get right. So but the Sharks are dealing with doing so well where they make the playoffs every year that they don't get high round draft picks. They get lower round draft picks.
Right.
But they do well with those late round draft picks. That's a different topic with whatever. But going back to this theory of do you blow up the team and tank for a couple years so you get those high round draft picks and then surge and win a series or win a cup, or do you stick with what they're doing where you retool instead of blowing up the team, right?
So I think as a fan and from the business perspective too, I would much rather see what Doug Wilson has done, which is basically retool. Now you're talking about the draft picks and that the Sharks don't get early picks.
Draft picks.
Yeah.
Early.
They had early rounds, but earlier in the round. So like a first overall, second overall, third overall pick, right? The Sharks don't have those. Why? Because we always finish in the playoff hunt, right? So, I don't think that that's a problem. And the reason I say that is because look at what we've done with those first overall picks. We haven't been drafting guys recently. More recently, what we've been doing is trading that away and getting guys that are really, really good, like Evander Kane. Now, in this series, and actually in these playoffs, he hasn't really shown up, which is a bummer, but he was a 30-goal scorer. If you're going to tell me that you're going to draft a guy 20-something overall in the first round, he's going to be a 30-goal scorer.
That's either a deep draft or you have good
Right?
scouts. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think that I like what Doug Wilson does with the assets that he has, and it doesn't necessarily always have to be going out and getting a young guy that might be good but might not. I mean, how many times have we seen guys that are drafted 1, 2, or 3, and maybe in earlier years where they don't pan out at all, right? So it's still a gamble, and these guys are also, you know, it's a Russian guy, and the Russian effect, is he going to go to the KHL? Now, it's not so much a concern as much anymore, but yeah, just because you draft him doesn't mean he's going to play with your team. He may say, you know what?
Yakupov,
There you go.
a first overall in the NHL, who is now in the KHL after maybe 5 years, 6 years.
So for me, I would rather say, hey, another team that wants to rebuild, here's our draft pick. You go ahead and give us one of your, you know, top guys. And I think Doug Wilson's done a phenomenal job of being able to trade those assets away and get guys that are ready to win right now. Now, I'd rather have the team be ready to win now and be competitive now because, again, all it takes is you getting a ticket to the dance, right? We saw Carolina make it pretty far. Now, they did get swept out.
Pretty far,
but they went pretty far.
For a team that barely made playoffs.
Exactly. Even Colorado. We ousted Colorado, but they lasted up till 7 games. They had it all the way through, right?
I mean, I think the domino effect of this regular season, if you will, going into next season, you're going to see teams really kind of taking it easy. Not be like Tampa Bay rolling through, because there's no point.
Yeah.
There's absolutely no point. As long as you're good enough to make playoffs, that's good enough. That's all you need.
And that's my entire point. I know we've got a couple super chats to get to, but the last thing I wanted to get to about that was the original question was, is it time to blow up this team?
No.
I don't think so. I mean, going with your scenario where Joe Thornton retires, Pavelski maybe moves on, and Erik Karlsson moves on. First of all, I don't see a scenario where both Pavelski and Karlsson move on. So I figure we're going to have one or the other. Right. I just don't think we have enough long-term contracts on guys that are still in their primes.
I do,
and that are still really good. There's really no reason to blow the team up. I can understand if you want to just wipe the slate clean and start over, but you're gonna suck for like a good 5 years if that's what you're doing, because you're gonna have all those prospects needing to start come back up, and the guys that you're trading for, you're not gonna get first overall draft picks for these guys. The guys that are really, really bad like that, those teams, they're not going to be looking for a Marc-Eduard Vlasic. They're going to look for youth. They're going to look for, you know, promise, not a guy that's, you know, in his prime and going towards the end of his career or throughout his contract.
Imagine if the Sharks are tanking for a playoff spot or a high draft pick, right? You think the fans are going to take to that? No way.
Hell no.
No way. It's going to be bad. Ticket sales will drop.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to want to go to games. Nobody will care because the Warriors will be good. The Niners will probably be better at that point. The Giants hopefully will be better. The A's will hopefully be better. You know, there's all these different options to do sports and spend your money wise. So nobody's going to want to go to Sharks games, and ticket sales will drop, and they just won't be as popular and won't be as good. It's not good for the team. It's not good for the sport.
Not good for the cities.
Right. It's not good for the city. Yeah. Look at downtown.
Exactly.
How vibrant is downtown with the Sharks being in playoffs for one, and this deep into playoffs, but even in the regular season having such a good team and always having a chance to win at home at least, right? So it's not a good idea to tank. It's not good to do that. Let's go to the super chat real quick. Raider Rich and Christ from it means no cry. I think I spelled it wrong. LOL. Sorry. Again, we took Spanish classes, but this was, 20 years ago now, I think.
I don't know, high school. Yeah, it was in high school. So
it's 2019.
We appreciate you supporting us again to let us know what you meant. That was awesome. So thank you for that.
He followed that up with, he got it from the movie Blood In, Blood Out.
Ooh, I don't know the movie.
I've actually not seen that movie. If it's a good one, please let us know, and I'll happily check that one out. If it's on Netflix, that'd be great.
And now that you guys ended your rant about blowing up the team,
yes,
Sean Savage sent $10 our way. Thank you very much.
Sean. Thank you.
He says, stop talking off-season. What do the Lions look like in upcoming Game 6? And let's do this.
Yeah. I think, now we're in an elimination game.
Yep.
We've seen the Sharks in
5?
5,
I think he said.
5 elimination games. So, again, going back to what I've said previously, of all the Sharks teams to be in this situation, this one is the best. You have all the veteran leadership. They know what it takes. They know what's on the line. You don't need, no offense to Zach Croft, but you don't need Zach Croft in there telling them what to do, because they know what to do. You don't need the coaching staff to go in there to tell them what to do. You don't need a miracle type hype
Although that
whatever
would help.
speech. Sure, it helps the fans. It doesn't help the team.
Zach
they
should be
know what
opening
to
that
do.
door.
Now go out there and
What?
take it.
Zach should be opening that door.
Right, Zach should be opening that door. The Sharks should fly him out if there's a Game 7. There better be a Game 7. I'm not saying there's not.
Yeah.
Lines for Game 6. What do you think we need to change?
It's such a crapshoot because we don't know who's going to be able to play in Game 6 because Pavelski left, Donskoy left but came back, but his jaw was busted up. What's with people getting hit in the face with pucks recently? Right? I mean, even just in these playoffs, Dunn from the St. Louis Blues, same thing, took a puck to the mouth.
Out.
And he's gone.
Yeah.
So that honestly, no offense to St. Louis Blues fans who might be watching, but I mean, it kind of speaks to the toughness of Joe Pavelski and Jonas Donskoy coming back from that.
It could be a much less severe injury.
Absolutely. Different type of injury. Maybe it's a fracture versus just
I don't want to say
whatever,
it's toughness that's bringing them back. It is tough
Sure.
to come back, but I don't want to say that the other guy's not as tough because it's different.
One injury isn't quite like
One
the other.
could be
but
medical where he broke his jaw and he cannot play
That is
without
true.
dying.
That is
which-
true. I guess my point
I'm
there
just-
was that
just throwing it out there.
Not
Go
saying
ahead.
that he is tougher, but my point being that for both of those other guys to also get hit in the face with pucks, you can see what the damage could be. Right, the damage could be that maybe he gets a fractured jaw, like maybe Dunn has. We don't know, but these guys took a puck to the mouth. Maybe they didn't get a fracture, but to me, that's like a toughness thing, right? Like, geez, these guys getting hit in the face. This is how bad it could have been, but they came back, right? So thankfully, it wasn't as bad for those two guys. They're back and they're playing, and we wish Dunn all the best. Obviously, when his return, whenever that happens. But where are we going with this now? With the lines, we don't know
what
who's.
would you change the lineups to?
That's the thing. We don't know who's
I know.
coming
At one
back,
point
right?
in the third period, there was no Haley. Kane had gotten tossed, right?
At one point they said they had.
end.
At one point they said they had, I think, 10 guys on the bench.
We noticed the bench was because it's hard to
There's a
see
lot of
when you're
space.
in the game. It's hard to see because they don't talk about it.
Yeah.
You're not listening. You can't hear anything.
Yeah.
So we looked over and like, man, it looks like the bench is really large, right? Or thin. Like there's a lot of space. And then we started counting up, and the person in front of us, I think, was listening on the radio, and they go, there was no Carlson left, Pavelski left, Donskoy at that point. Donskoy left. There was two more. Haley
got
was tossed,
yeah.
and one more. There was 5 guys that were gone.
You said Kane. Yeah. Kane
Well,
was the other
later,
one.
yeah, it was like 2 minutes left in the
Okay.
game. There was even another person that was
Okay.
gone. But it was 4 forwards and 1 defenseman, which is a lot.
I
That's
think-
a whole
I think-
line plus a defenseman.
I think the big question there, the thing that he wants to hear about really is with Evander Kane. I'm sorry, not Evander. With EK65. Wrong EK. Sorry. I think you got to play Tim Heed obviously at this point, right? And I think, and I was saying this too, I would rather have seen Tim Heed play today's game when the series was even up, because now it's like everything's on the line, right? You're down 3-2. And it's almost like the situation of playing with your backup goaltender in the playoffs, right? If you lose the first 2 games, then on that third game, you'd tamper with playing your backup, right? Because if you play your starter and you lose, then you're thinking, okay, do I play my backup or do I not? And it's an elimination game. I think it's the same scenario now with Erik Karlsson, where it's, I would have rather seen him take the day off, play Tim Heed, because if they lose tonight like they did, then it's like, okay, we can go back to Erik Karlsson if we feel he may be healthy.
It might
or
be
not.
what they did in a way, where they just benched Karlsson because they said this game's out of hand.
Yeah.
So let's just rest you and wait until you get another 2.5 days
That
now
could
instead
be.
of 2 days, and you don't injure yourself anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And now we'll play. Joakim Ryan got some pretty good minutes tonight. I think.
Yeah.
I felt like he was out there a lot. He was on the PK for a while too. So I think that's what they were going for, was let's see how it goes tonight, and if we can't get the win, if it's, at this point it's 3-4-0, let's just bench these guys and rest them. It's almost like replacing, putting Dell in with, which I wouldn't have been surprised if they did, going into
save Jones.
maybe not in the third, but after that 4th goal, just pull him and rest him up a little bit. But
okay. So you think Erik Karlsson left because he was getting rest, because why bother, as opposed to he's too injured to play?
I think that was more for that. Pavelski, maybe even the same thing, because he took a hit and was a little woozy. Not woozy, but he was a little shaken up.
He got, looks like a headshot.
Yeah.
Is what it was, yeah.
So I think same thing for him. Rest him up. I mean,
Yeah.
he just had a major headshot.
Oh, Hurdle left.
Hurdle was the other one.
Yeah.
That was the other one.
Hurdle
It's
left.
probably in the comments too.
Yeah.
I think at that point when it's 3-4-0 in the third with less than 10 minutes to go,
Yeah.
why risk it? get those guys to the locker room and get them rest
No.
and get them ready for Game 6, because now it's an elimination game and they know what's on the line. They're not stupid. They know what's going on.
Yeah.
So I think that's more of resting issue than an injury where they couldn't play in this game.
Yeah, I think the guys that are all banged up, I think you'll still see a lot of them come out and play. I will say this: if you're going to play Erik Karlsson, you dress 7 defensemen. I think you put Tim Heed out there with the boys.
Marshall was talking about
Yeah.
was play Tim Heed, play a 7 defenseman, and then scratch one of your fourth-line guys. At that point, Haley?
Probably Haley. It'll probably be Haley. Whether he deserves it or not, it'll probably be Haley. Or you never know. You might have one of your top forwards. If Pavelski can't play or Hertl can't play or anybody else can't play for whatever reason, then there's your roster spot right there, right? So, and I'd hate to see that because, again, the Sharks at full power, and again, what does it take to win a cup, right?
Yeah.
So health being one of those. With the Sharks not at full power and they've lost, not even just have a bunch of guys that are not feeling healthy and not feeling right, but to have them not even in the lineup, that's where your depth is beyond being tested. It's you're starting to get depleted. So we've heard the guys on the radio too. Well, I heard the guys on the radio saying, it just looks like the Sharks. It looks like the playoffs finally caught up with them. It looks like the amount of games that they've had to play, and I recognize that St. Louis has only played 1 game less, yes, but the types of games that San Jose has played against, a really tough and rumble, a rough and tumble. I keep switching that for some reason. Vegas team, right?
Yeah.
That was tough.
Yeah.
And then against Colorado, it wasn't so much tough, but it was very tiring because they were so fast trying to keep up with
I
them.
think they physically got a little bit banged up wise. They got to recover a little bit, but they were still hustling their butts off.
And then you go up against the St. Louis team, who's no slouch. I mean, they're going to go out there and hit you, and that's what they've been doing. And they're potent. They're deep. Every single line's going to have to deal with another line that's pretty much their equal. So where I thought that the Sharks had a bigger advantage was on the blue line, and that just hasn't shaken out. I mean, when you've got the names that we've got on that blue line, and it's just not working for some reason, one reason or another. And part of that obviously being Erik Karlsson and his groin and whatever else is not really working too well for him. And yes, I do believe it's his groin. I mean, he's on the bench doing these kind of leaning forward and trying to his groin stretch it out and everything else. That's what he's doing. So I mean, it's the same injury. It's the same thing that's aggravating him. So it's a bummer. It sucks for Sharks Nation because it's. This team, again, on paper, we should be able to destroy pretty much anyone. But when you don't have the health, you're not playing at 100%. You just can't do it. It's not just playing through pain. It's not being capable of skating the way that you want to, not being capable of hitting a guy the way that you want to, not being capable of shooting the puck as hard as you'd like or as accurately as you can. Your body's not allowing you to play the way that you're capable of playing. So it's an unfortunate thing, and I wish we were in a healthier position. Obviously, all teams are a little banged up, but I just think the Sharks are just going through more than probably any other team right now. But I heard that thing go off a long time ago. So do we have another super chat? Or?
Not to call out Joe, but Jason Hillier said super producer Jason has a much better voice than Joe. Sorry, Joe. LOL.
Wow. Super producer Jason, you want to say thank you for that one?
Thank you.
I'm creeped out now. Okay, anyway. Do we have a super chat?
Anthony, is it Anthony Leal?
Yeah.
With all this money we've donated, y'all could buy EK65 a new groin for Game 6.
Ooh, that's a good idea.
I don't know. How much does that go for? No,
11 million?
11 million? Yeah, it's true. 11 million?
He could buy himself a groin.
Minimum. 11 million minimum. Another $4.99 from Shoeshine. What's the over-under on the suspensions after the game? My money's on 2. I'm going to say 0 because 2 makes sense. And NHL does not make sense when it comes to suspension. So I'm going to say nothing and at most a fine.
Okay.
The headhunter on Hertl,
Pavs
I think
Hertl?
it was. I would say Hertl first. I think it looked worse to me than the Pavs one, but I was watching it live. I didn't get the benefit of the replay. They did not show the replay in either one, so I didn't get to really see either one afterwards.
Guarantee you, if they suspend anyone from the Blues and the Sharks win Game 6, what are we going to hear about? What are we going to hear about?
The refs.
Yeah.
Or the league.
They
wanting
handed
the
him
Sharks.
Game 6.
Yeah.
Right? It's just stupid to me, guys. I don't know. It's just goofy to me, but okay, whatever. So it's, I don't know. Will they be suspended? Again, probably not because it doesn't make any sense. The Department of Player Safety, who knows what they're thinking or what they're doing. I think you're right. Probably just a fine. Maybe not even that. Maybe just, hey, knock that off and shaking their finger at him, and that'll be the end of it. So
right.
Is what it is. You're going to get some calls. You're going to not get some calls. Things are going to go your way. Things are not going to go your way. You just got to play through it and do the best you can. Tonight, the Sharks, nothing went their way. They're going to have to play through Game 6, and we'll see what happens then.
Yep. And good comment here. Jay, you want to read this one? Because it gets cut off for me.
Yeah, Bad Weather Gaming, $5. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm a Blues fan, but I cannot imagine the Sharks rolling over for Game 6. What do you think needs to happen for the Sharks to pull it off?
Thank you for the $5.
Thank you.
And thank you for tuning in, even though you're a Blues fan. What do we think we need to happen for the Sharks? I think what they did in the first 5 minutes of tonight in the first period, I think they need to execute. I think that's been their problem, is they've had their chances and they haven't been able to quite execute. And we've seen this time and time again. We've also seen, I think, in every single series, right? They've been shut out in one game. And then they come out and dominate. I don't know if that's the right word. They come out and win the next game after getting shut out. So I think I don't think the Sharks are done. I think there will be a Game 7. I think more likely than not there will be a Game 7. It's going to be tough going into St. Louis and winning, but I mean, if you look back at Game 4, the Sharks had their chances up until the last 10 seconds of that game. They could have tied that up and won Game 4, which obviously would have changed the whole series. But I think it's obviously winnable in St. Louis. They won Game 3. They almost won Game 4. So I'm not as scared going into St. Louis to win Game 6. A lot of people like to go, this is what happened in Game 5. This is what will happen in Game 6 because it'll be the exact same as what happened in Game 5. And I think, as I've said before, I don't think the Sharks play like that. I think they're one of the few teams that can really separate themselves from their past games and look at themselves in the mirror and be like, okay, this is what we need to do. So what do I think they need to do? The Sharks need to score power play goals from Anthony Sanchez. Yes, I think that's part of it. I think they need to execute. I think they get a lot of high danger scoring chances and in general scoring chances that they should bury and they will bury. And I think some of those guys need to step up. One of them being the towel that I threw down on the ground, Kevin LeBanc. I thought he was very transparent tonight. He did not show up.
Which, by the way, I'm a little upset because your LeBanc towel is much bigger than my Pavelski towel.
It's not about size, Paul.
I don't know, right? Well, I'm 5'7". I've been dealing with this my entire life. But no, it's ridiculous. It's much bigger, and I'm mad.
Where is it?
It's down here. Yeah, here, this one. Look, I'm gonna put corner to corner over here. Look at this thing. It's ridiculous. Whatever. Anyway, here you go. Let's see. What do the Sharks need to do? Take a page out of the St. Louis Blues playbook, right? I mean, look, their fourth line is clicking, and they're actually, I wouldn't want to call them a fourth line. You got Alex Steen down there. That's not really a fourth line.
That's like Evan Thornton on the third line.
Let's take a look at minutes played. Are they really the fourth line? I don't think so. I mean, maybe in today's game because it got out of control and they're like, just put those guys back out there again, right?
Steen is an offensive player, I think. More. It's almost like having Donskoy on the fourth line, to me.
Steen's better than Donskoy, I think.
Yeah, but my point to be relevant to Sharks fans, it's like having Donskoy, who shouldn't really be on the fourth line, be on the fourth line.
Okay.
Kind of the same thing where Steen shouldn't really be on the fourth line, but he is because they're so deep.
Yeah. I think you need to take one out of their playbook. I mean, these guys are out there churning their legs all day long. I don't know if they have like smelling salts in their gloves and they just constantly are doing this or what the case is, but they have an endless supply of energy, it seemed like. They were running all over the ice. Their passes were crisp. They were supporting each other on plays. Anytime the Sharks came into the zone, it was like one Shark in and then three Blues would converge, and we just couldn't get the puck to each other. There's a lot of that going on, and I just think that they're outworking us in every single zone. So I would like to see our guys, I don't know, get a little injection of energy maybe. How you do that, I don't know. This is a team that's very tired and very banged up, so it might be asking too much of them at this point. But if you want your playoff hopes to be alive still, you have no choice. You got to give everything you got in Game 6 and just whatever. If you have anything left in the tank in Game 7, who cares? You got to get out of Game 6. You can't reserve anything for Game 7. So I think in Game 6, what they need to do is put everything they got out on the ice, leave it all out on the ice, and if you lose, be proud of yourself that you gave everything that you had. But what I will say is they need to have better support for each other on the ice because you're not really seeing it. A pass that goes from Erik Karlsson between Brendan Dillon's legs, and it looked like Dillon was, I don't know if he was trying to let it go. Like, I think maybe he thought, well, it's right between my legs. Maybe I just let this go, bounce off the boards up to the winger. Or if he was just not ready for it, or what the case was.
I thought, when I saw it live, I thought that he thought there was someone right behind him ready to take that puck up. And he was just like, oh, I'm going to let this go to let the winger take it and get it out of here because Karlsson's seen something I'm not. Because it wasn't, to me, I mean, I didn't know it went through his legs. I didn't realize it was that close. I thought it was a little bit off and not directly to his stick. So he probably thought, oh, I'm in the way. Let me get out of the way of this pass to get the puck out. So I'm not saying I don't blame Dillon for not playing the puck because he should have played the puck, but it was just a bad turnover in the wrong part of the ice that ended up going in the back of the net very early when the Sharks clearly had momentum in that first part of the game, and they should have and could have scored.
And I think if Karlsson was healthy, that he doesn't even make that pass. I think he hangs on to the puck, right? I mean, and if you look when he passed it, it's not like Dillon was just wide open. There were a couple Blues off to the side there, so it doesn't make sense why he would throw it there. But again, I think if he's healthy, not that he's like mentally not all there, but like if he's healthy and his legs are working, I think he just takes the puck. I don't think he was really pressured. I mean, it could be wrong, but looking at it again, I mean, I'd have to look at it again, but it didn't really look like he had to make that play. So I'm not really sure what he was doing there. It's just an unfortunate thing. It bounces off the boards right to dude who fires it in. It's like,
I laugh because I'm like, Karlsson got the assist and he got the goal because it tipped off of his leg into the goal.
Did it tip off his leg?
Looked like on the replay it redirected just slightly enough because Jones looked like he had it covered and he kind of screened him a little bit and it changed direction
Jones
slightly.
was looking over to his right to try to look past Karlsson.
So Karlsson got the secondary assist and the goal on that goal. It was a beautiful pass right to him. I mean, he just wound up and hit it. It's just... It's unfortunate, and I felt like, being at the game, I was like, the Sharks are really pressuring, they're looking really good.
Yeah.
It's going to be one of those games where they can't score, and they're going to get a crappy goal coming back the other way where you're just like, ugh, and then the Sharks aren't going to score the rest of the game. Yeah. And lo and behold, that's what happened.
Yeah. A frustrating night for
day
San
games.
Jose Sharks fans.
The sun shouldn't be out right now. It's so weird.
It's true.
It's really weird. It's really weird when you leave the game and the sun's still out.
On the upside, super producer Jason's going to get plenty of sleep tonight. So
yes,
true. Rest that voice of his.
Yeah, right. Everyone's going to be able to end our show and then watch Game of Thrones.
That is true, including us.
Dun, 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 dun. Are we going to get a strike
right there.
for
That's
that?
it.
Right
That's
there?
it. That's all you can hum. That's about $15,000 we got to send.
Wow.
We're going to hashtag Game of Thrones just to get people to watch this.
You can hum songs, and you just can't play them,
Only
right?
so many notes.
So many notes.
Oh, really?
7 bars, I think.
I did not know that.
That's close.
Good to know.
You had a really good suggestion here. The Sharks need to score more power play goals. Mm-hmm. Can you talk a bit more about, we did not see them acting the way they have in the past around that frenzy.
They did have Bernsey set up in the Ovechkin office again tonight. I thought they looked good when Karlsson got the puck over to him. He had at least 1, maybe 2 shots on the one-timer. And again, Bennington could not... He stopped it, obviously, but he couldn't hold it.
Control it.
So he couldn't control it. He controlled the rebound a little bit better. It was in front of him.
Yeah.
But the Sharks were able to kind of pick up the scraps and move it. So I think, to me, it's that shot. Obviously, the Sharks are looking for it. Obviously, the Blues know that they're looking for that pass or looking for that pass to the one-time, right?
Yeah.
So they're trying to stop it. But it's Karlsson, and they can't because he's that elite in saucing it over or whatever. So they know it's coming, and yet they still can't. Not that they can't stop it, because they did stop it, but it's still dangerous.
Yeah.
It's still he's still getting it to the point where Bennington can't catch it completely and stuffle it, right? Or stifle it.
Yeah.
So I think the Sharks need to continue doing that. I like that power play look better than what they were doing before.
Yeah.
I think they look a lot more dangerous. Up until it was 2-0. Once it became 2-0, 3-0, the Blues really killed the neutral zone. The Sharks couldn't get the puck through it. It was just getting it through mud, right?
Yeah, yeah.
They couldn't get past the half line. They couldn't dump it in, and when they did dump it in, the Blues were getting to those races. And this is what I was saying the last game is the Sharks not necessarily need to hit more, but but they need to win those one-on-one battles.
Yeah.
And they were not winning those one-on-one battles, getting those pucks out of the corners, digging them out, and getting them out. And going back to the power play, they kind of have to do that dump and chase a little bit because when they stuff the neutral zone, that leaves the back end open where you can dump and chase. When the neutral zone stuff, that's how you change your strategy is to dump and chase. The Sharks are trying to dump and chase, but they weren't getting guys in behind their defensemen and in winning those battles, and they were able to get it and clear it, and they were getting clean clears off on the penalty kill for the Blues. They were able to get the first guy winning that first battle, getting it to another open guy who was able to clear it.
Yeah.
The Sharks need to get a better job of getting more numbers in, especially if they have to dump a chase because they were behind. If they were up, it would be a completely different story.
See, I'd love to have more power play goals. At the same time, I'd love to have some goals, period. We got a goose egg today. So, and the previous game was 1, right? So outscored 7-1 in the last 2 games. So you're not going to win a game by scoring none, or you're probably not going to win that game by scoring 1, right? So the idea is, we'd love to have some goals in the power play, but I think the Sharks just need to be better 5-on-5, flat out. You can't rely on the other team taking penalties so that you can score goals, right? You need to be more assertive and be able to just dominate them regardless of how many people you have on the ice at that point in time and how many they have on the ice at that point in time. Now, it's nice having the man advantage because you kind of get to set up and do whatever you want in that zone. At the same time, the majority of your time is going to be 5-on-5. So while I would love to see them better on the power play, they need to be better, just period. They just need to be better. And that goes for even strength, even the 4-on-4 play, which Kurz was saying, it kind of it goes in their favor to play 4-on-4 as opposed to 5-on-5 or even on the power play. Yeah, our favor.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, exactly.
I thought you meant the other one.
No. It's in our favor to be playing 4-on-4.
So. I think same in overtime.
Which is great, but the majority of the time, you're not going to be playing 4-on-4. The majority of the time, you're not going to be on the power play. The majority of the time, you're playing 5-on-5. You need to be better there.
At the same time, you need to take advantage when you get those chances.
Absolutely.
Power play especially because this game had a lot of penalties, but I think most games are going to be more like game 4 or game 3 when they called 1 power play for each team.
And that's
it. You need to take advantage.
That's just it. See, I agree. You do need to take advantage, but if you're going to rely on the 1 power play, since they're putting their whistles away, if you're going to rely on the 1 power play that you might get in that game to try to score a goal, you're probably not winning that game. You need to be better 5-on-5.
I don't think you need to rely on it, but I think you need to take advantage of your chances.
Absolutely agree.
I think they need to just bury that. If they got a power play goal in the first period,
oh yeah,
make it 2-1.
See, different game, and here's why. Not just the fact that they're up by a goal now, right? The crowd gets into it.
Yes,
and we've seen what the crowd can do.
The crowd was dead today.
It was absolutely dead.
There was nothing to cheer about. Yeah. It was ugh.
If Evander Kane's first shot goes in, and it's 1-0 Sharks.
Yes,
completely different game. Those 5 goals are largely a product of how just like down and just worn and no energy that the Sharks had, right? And the Blues were capitalizing on it. Every time they would put the puck in the net or every time they get a hit, they're getting that energy. They don't need a crowd. They're doing it amongst themselves. If the Sharks put a goal in right away and it was 1-0, the crowd's going nuts. The Sharks are feeling great. They're playing with the lead. They're playing more on their toes as opposed to playing on their heels. Like, there's a whole lot of stuff that happens differently. Now, the one thing I will say about this game that's so great about the Sharks being so bad is that the Sharks were so bad. And we don't normally see them this bad, right? So I'm expecting a nice bounce back just by default, because if they can get back to just being the default team that they are, they're not going to be this bad. So I'm looking for a much better game out of Game 6.
I talked about this before. I'd rather see a blowout like today, 5-0, rather than a 2-1 game like
I meant
game
to bring
4.
that up because I know that was one of your points, and I forgot to bring it up.
I'd rather see a blowout game like this because the Sharks it's more of a kick in the rear to be like, okay, we really need to get better. We can't just play the same game that we played, which is kind of, I feel like what they did.
Yeah.
They played the same game they did in Game 4 because it almost worked, right?
Yeah.
This obviously did not work. So they're going to come out, change everything. They're going to work harder. That means every single person on every single shift. Obviously, it's an elimination game, so they know they need to do everything that they can. But even more so, they go, wow, everything that I did the last game did not work. I need to change it up. So they're going to. So I think I would hate to be a St. Louis Blues fan and pay good money to go to Game 6 because the Sharks, I'm going to say, are going to win Game 6 and come back here Game 7.
Because you just went through that?
Not quite the same, because it's not an elimination game. Today wasn't an elimination game. But I'm just saying, like, I think you should not go to Game 6 if you're a Blues fan because you're just going to leave disappointed like I did today.
Well, you went to this is your first playoff game of this season, right?
Yeah.
Okay. My first playoff game and the only playoff game of this season, Game 7 round.
I will not be going to any more playoff games.
If they have a
This
Game
round.
7,
This round, I will not be
try
going. I will
to
not
go.
be going.
Aaron was called out to be a bad luck charm. Too.
Oh, totally bad luck. I will not be going anymore. However, the last time I had season tickets,
yeah,
they went to the finals.
I think maybe Kane might have missed that shot just barely because of the glare in the. No, maybe not.
So good, so good. I was right behind that goal.
Oh,
too.
were you?
Yeah.
There you go.
Oh,
Blame him.
all right.
Let me hit you with a super chat here
Yeah,
from
go
Sharks
for it.
fan 27 from a little bit ago. Should Haley play Game 6? I think you guys kind of addressed that.
Kind of. Let's directly address it.
Yeah.
Should he play Game 6? I think it depends on the health of Carlson. If Carlson is not healthy, maybe you still play him, but you make him the 7th defenseman where he's more of like a power play specialist in a way. Get some limited minutes in 5-on-5, but not as much. I mean, I'm talking 15 to 20 minutes versus 25 to the 30 that he normally gets, and give him all the power play time that he can handle. And then that would, at the expense of Haley, bring in Tim Heed, who could play with Dylan as his defense partner. So then you'd have Dylan and Heed kind of on the normal shifts.
I think Vlasic and Heed played pretty well as a pairing too. So
maybe I mean those lines are even the pairings were blended tonight because I saw Vlasic and Braun together, Vlasic and Burns together. So I mean they were all over the place. I think partially because of Carlson was probably hurt and missing the last half of the game, second half of the game. So yeah, I don't know if you. I like Haley in the lineup. I think he brings a lot to the table, other than the stupidity that he got himself suspended for tonight, which I didn't even really get a good second look at. I don't even know what he really did.
10-minute misconduct.
Right, but I didn't see what he really. He got 2 penalties on the play.
Immediately after the face-off, he went right after Pietrangelo and was like, "Let's go." And Pietrangelo was kind of not really interested in it. And then I think, who was the guy? Bouwmeester came over? I think Bouwmeester came over. So it was like 2-on-1, essentially. The ref standing in between. Both of them are kind of like throwing jabs at each other. Or I should say, Haley was throwing jabs kind of at both Bouwmeester and Pietrangelo in between the ref. And
I did see that part,
So I'm just like, dude, linesman, get out of the way. Just let them go. If the other guys are trying to do this over your shoulder too and over your back, just get out of the way. Let them go. Right? Why protect these guys? If they want to throw little jabs because they know that the linesman's in the way and he's not going to get anything happening to him because there's a linesman there, all I have to do is a little rab punch kind of thing. Get out of the way then. If he's willing to throw some little jabs at Haley, just move. Let him fight if that's what he wants to do. If he doesn't want to fight, trust me, he'll skate away from you while you're in between instead of doing little jabs. So I don't know. I would have liked to seen it. I think it would have been nice to have something for the crowd to cheer about, right?
But going to the next
and again,
game,
sending a message.
Going to the next game, do you want him in the lineup or no?
Okay, so do I want him in the lineup? I don't. I'll put it this way. I don't think Haley has done anything to deserve to not be in the lineup, but it's just a matter of the log jam, right? If we have the spot for him, then absolutely yes. If somebody's going to have to go out of the lineup for any reason, one way or another, if we have to have a 7th defenseman like Aaron's talking about here, add Heed into the lineup and put Carlson out there just when we have power plays and maybe a couple offensive zone starts, right? Then it makes sense that roster spot is taken away from Haley. But otherwise, I think he's done a good enough job. There's really no reason to point at him and say he's not getting it done. He sucks. Don't play him. I don't see that. I think he's out there doing the things that they want him to do, and he hasn't really been a huge liability or anything. I think, if the Sharks come out with any sort of tempo to Game 6, it's going to suit his game perfectly because he's going to feed off that and start running around and hitting people. And again, I just think that's what they need to do. Yes, winning the puck battles is great, but one way to win a puck battle is to knock a guy off the puck.
Right.
So I don't know. I don't think that there's a reason for him to be out. Will he play? I don't know. We'll have to see what the lineup looks like. But I certainly don't think that he's played his way out of a roster spot. I'll put it that way.
Okay. Let's go to another super chat. 1999 from Ryan Miller. And I don't know if this is the Ryan Miller.
This is the goalie.
But really enjoy the show. I normally listen to the podcast. First time watching on YouTube. Keep up the great work, boys.
Thank you.
And that's Ryan from Caraway Clothing.
Oh, hey.
Hey, right on.
Let's plug Caraway Clothing then.
Sure, go for it.
I think it's Caraway. Is it Caraway.com or CarawayClothing.com?
I'm sure he'll put it in the...
Yeah, put it in the chat.
Go ahead.
He makes some fantastic shirts. One of them, actually, super producer Jason owns. It's the Vlasic pickle shirt.
I love it.
If you have any idea what I'm talking about, if you have no idea what I'm talking about, you should go Google it.
Yeah.
Vlasic Sharks
Caraway,
shirt
probably, yeah.
or Caraway. Yeah, I'm sure it will pop up. Are you wearing it right now, Jay?
No, not right now.
Usually half the time we're doing the show, he's wearing it. So that's why I was asking.
I need a new shirt. Send some our way.
Caraway Clothing. It's a great company. They make some fantastic shirts. Thanks.
A good time to plug our website.
Good time to plug our website. If you'd like the Fin Factor, if you'd like to support the show in other ways other than the Super Chat, you can go to thefinfactor.com right here and use the coupon Playoff Mode, and you'll get 10% off of our swag. So we have a black shirt, a teal shirt, a gray shirt, a black women's deep V shirt, a fantastic hat that Paul has right here. In fact, I got some comments tonight. I'm going to give a shout out to the two fans that I saw tonight. I'm going to call them the Duck Dynasty brothers because their beards were magnificent. Nice. I felt like a toddler trying to grow a beard next to these guys. It was incredible. So, and I'm blanking on the names. It was Brian, and I want to say it was Patrick, but I think that's wrong.
Okay.
So he's probably going to be pissed at me. But they had not heard of the show, and they looked at my hat, and they go, "That's a fantastic hat." And I go, "Oh, why, thank you. I do a show on YouTube. You should check us out, and podcasts." And one of them said, "I listen to podcasts all the time. Are you on Apple?" And I said, "Yes. Yes, we are." And so he looked it up and found it right there. And so I gave them each a sticker and told them that you can buy a hat and you can get 10% off.
It pays to pay attention to, and you know what, we'll go ahead and plug the rest of it while we're here, okay? So on Facebook and Twitter is @TheFinFactor. On Instagram is @FinFactor. Now, if you were paying attention on Twitter today from our account, you saw that you had the opportunity to go meet Aaron because he was at the game, and Aaron had stickers. So that would have been a great opportunity for you to go and get a sticker for your toaster. If you don't know what that is, go back a few episodes. But yeah, I mean, that's one of the things. Usually when Aaron and I kind of are, at the games or, going to one of those Turn Up and Teal events or something like that, we've got a stack of stickers with us. And if we see anybody who recognizes us or we're just kind of introducing ourselves to them, we give them a sticker.
I did get a shout out from somebody who was literally walking by and tagged me, slapped me and goes, "Fin Factor," and then walks away and I was like, "Yeah." I didn't know who it was, so I don't know who that was. If you're watching, say hi in the comments.
Was it a hand clap or was it a
no,
backside?
He literally hit me on the shoulder as he walked by, and I was just like,
"Good
who
game.
was that?" Yeah,
good game.
Yeah, good game. All right, big gulps, huh? See you later.
Anyway, we got another comment here.
Someone did jokingly say the Sharks should form the Flying V.
No.
Where's that from? That's from Shark Attack. Flying V from Mighty Ducks.
Not the Duck Attack? That's surprising. Yeah, that doesn't work in real life. I don't know if you know Disney movies, but they're not real. Which is why I do not like Miracle, because it's a Disney movie.
Miracle is awesome. Don't you dare.
That speech that he gave is Hollywood. That did not happen in real life.
Don't care.
Who do you play for?
Yeah.
Who do you play for? That didn't happen in real life.
Doesn't matter if it didn't happen in real life. It's good.
You had to... They just muddied up what was so great about the Miracle on Ice.
So do you not like Game of Thrones then?
It's not based on a real story.
Doesn't matter.
It does matter.
We got another question?
I got some talk about injuries, like the what if certain people are out.
Yeah.
It's really going to change the lineup.
Big time.
Injuries to Hurdle,
Pavelski,
Carlson.
Let's run through them. Let's imagine for a second here. Pavs, Hurdle, Carlson. Let's say Kane's shoulder or whatever is too agitated and he can't go. And let's say that the puck to the mouth on Donskoy, let's say he was running off adrenaline and all of a sudden he can't play.
That's a lot.
That's a lot. You're talking about a full line of forwards.
That would sink an entire team right there.
Oh, yeah. I mean, any team, really.
I still think the Sharks would have a shot.
It's true, actually.
I mean, I'm a little bit of homerish.
Not a good shot, but they'd have a shot.
They wouldn't be... If it was Colorado and they were out Rantanen and McKinnon and Landeskog, done.
Forget it.
Done.
Yeah.
No. I still think they had I'm not saying a good shot.
No.
But they would be able to hang, I think.
Okay.
And I think you'd see some rookies could come up. Shamlevsky? Gambrell. Nah, not Gambrell.
You don't think so? I bet Gambrell would.
Oh, Gambrell. Yeah. I don't know. It's hard to say who.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Radil would probably be in, right? Actually, you might even see Radil. I mean, again, depending on who's out, I think Radil's probably the shoe-in. out of all of them as the first guy up and the first guy in. I think Gambrell's maybe a little bit too gangly, we'll say, to be taking on playoff minutes against a team that's really throwing the body around out there. I think he'd probably get too intimidated right off the hop.
Yeah.
So I think Radil is probably the right guy if you're going to have somebody step in for anybody else coming out. Now, we were just talking about does Haley play? So, I mean, I think Haley's still in the lineup before Radil is.
Yeah.
But if we have enough guys getting knocked out, yeah, we're going to have to dip into the pool a bit here, and it's going to be a much different San Jose Sharks team.
Going back to what we said earlier, though, I don't think a lot of these guys are injured. I think they were just resting them for the next game because at this point this game was out of hand.
Maybe.
So they didn't want to risk, dumping the puck in, and they're going to go in to chase it, and they get jacked again in the boards and make it even worse. So I think they were just kind of resting them and saying, we have to win 2 of 3. We lost the first one. Now we're going to have to win 2 of 2. At that point, you just lick your wounds and say, let's move on and go.
And I would love to believe that. But my only problem is when they left the game, it was right after those injuries too, though, right? Right after those hits. So I don't know. If you're thinking about maybe pulling a guy out of the lineup just to rest him, I think you do that probably sporadically. I mean, the timing was just like worked out perfectly.
Right.
That's when they wanted to do it was right after he got hit.
If you get hit like that and you have to go into the locker room or you have to go into the tunnel or wherever and you get kind of assessed privately, right? Yeah. I'm sure they come back to the coach or they come back to whoever and they go, okay, he's okay to come back, but should he? And the coach would be like, no, just hit the showers, right?
Okay.
I think that's what it's more like. Like, forget it. They probably get word back to the coach, to DeBoer or somebody, and they go, it's not worth it.
Yeah.
Let's just chill. We're not coming back. We're not going to mount a comeback.
Yeah.
I mean, the comeback that they had against Vegas is once in a lifetime, I think.
Unprecedented, yeah.
Right. So I don't think that they were really... Realistically, that's not going to happen, so I think they're just licking their wounds, like I said, going back and coming in.
Hope that's the case. Absolutely.
One of the advantages you guys talk about is those are all fresh legs coming in.
Next game.
That is true,
if
but
there was
inexperienced fresh legs.
Fresh legs by one period of less hockey.
No. He's saying if Radil and Gambrell.
Oh, sorry.
Well, those are also rusty legs. So
yeah, it's a little. It's a two-way sword, two-edged sword. You get fresh legs, but the game speed is not there because it's not like the Barracuda are playing right now. So those guys aren't playing at all, other than the practice that they're getting in, which I'm sure most of those guys are practicing just in case, but still not the same. I mean, kind of like
they're all practicing for sure.
Exactly what we talked about the last episode about the Bruins sitting there, right? And how those teams the team that sweeps ends up getting swept the next round. Why does that happen? Because they're sitting not quite idle. They're practicing.
Yeah.
Practice is a lot different than
it's
a game.
Not anywhere near the same. Yeah.
Let's jump to because it was a day game, 12 p.m. game. I think we're gonna have a lot of European viewers watching still.
Oh.
So let's do a roll call right now. Where are you watching? How did you find us? And put those in the comments, and we'll just have Jason, the super producer Jason, throw those up there. And if I see any that I see that I want to call out, I'll call out. Otherwise, I'm not going to read these because I don't have my computer.
Also, be sure to add the 3-letter team if it's San Jose Sharks SJS or St. Louis STL, or if you're still watching from Colorado, that'd be awesome. Let us know what team you're affiliated with. Of course, no hate or anything. We're just curious. So there is that. Also, wanted to, as long as we were plugging things, subscribe.
Right.
So basically what we do is we go live after each post game for the playoffs rather. So when we subscribe to the show, you're going to get a notification. Basically, it says when we are going live. So on a day like today, where it was kind of at 12 o'clock, people are asking us, when are you guys going to go live? Because usually we go live around 9. So today was 3:30 instead.
We didn't want to compete with Game of Thrones.
Yeah, never again.
Do.
And stop. So it's good idea to go ahead and subscribe again. We don't bombard you with a bunch of useless stuff. We only let you guys know when we're going live, essentially, or when we have an episode that's coming out, which is during the regular season, a weekly thing, right? We take a macro view. If they play 3 games, 4 games, or 2 games, whatever it is, we'll get a show that's kind of breaking down the main points about those games and some of the topics that we'd like to talk about. So again, we don't bombard you with a bunch of useless stuff. So there's that.
I'm seeing a lot of international stuff. I know you can't read it because you don't have your glasses on.
I do not have my glasses
on.
But I'm also looking at that, not that.
Germany, Australia, and I think it was Switzerland.
Ooh, nice.
Chandler, Arizona, coming in here.
International Arizona, yeah.
Well, that's not international.
Well, it's whatever.
Right.
It's inside the nation, internet, right?
That would be national.
Intranational, maybe.
Oh, right.
I don't know.
Yes.
Smarts, I am not.
Canada. From Illinois, St. Louis fans started watching after Game 2, and you will keep watching after this series. You guys are doing great and a fair show. Thank you.
Thank
I
you.
appreciate that.
You know, we were getting some "you're too biased."
Right. Well, we got a Las Vegas fan right here.
Okay.
Who's a Vegas Knights fan from Las Vegas? I mean.
Okay.
But they're also a Vegas Knights fan. And here's another one from Campbell that's a St. Louis fan.
Wow.
But we try to keep it. We are obviously a Sharks show. We have some bias towards the Sharks, but we're also fair. We try to be as fair as possible because we're also hockey fans.
Yeah.
So we're not, completely homers where we're just whatever.
Oh,
I think Mongolia, that's got to be a joke. Is that real? I can't believe that's real.
I mean, I think the takeaway is that we're Sharks. We are Sharks fans. We follow the Sharks. We know that we don't follow St. Louis. We don't follow Colorado. We don't follow. I mean, you kind of do in the fantasy sports sense.
Again, more of a macro view. I kind of
Right.
follow those teams because I play fantasy in a couple leagues, so I have a good read on a lot of the
stats wise.
But again, it's more of like if you think about fantasy, you're really only having the top 2 lines and maybe the top 2-3 defensemen of each team because the way fantasy works. So I don't really
want
know those bottom league, bottom feeder guys, if you will, right?
Whereas as somebody who's following the St. Louis Blues, for instance, you guys would understand those guys much better and know to point those guys out. Same thing for us. We know what our 3rd and 4th lines look like, whereas somebody who's playing fantasy hockey and is looking at just the bigger names on the San Jose Sharks probably doesn't know anything about Melker Karlsson or Barclay Goodrow, right? What they can bring to the table. Barclay having a phenomenal playoffs in the face-off dot, right?
I don't know on my phone. It's up there, but
okay.
That's still my screen grab is Barclay Goodrow scoring the overtime winner against Fleury. I think you have it too, right?
Yeah, I do.
It's my background on my phone. And it's fantastic because the puck is just over the line and he's still just juking him. There you go.
That one.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Beautiful.
So yeah. Then you zoomed in on me. Sorry. But yeah, that's kind of why everything is Sharks. We're not NHL analysts or anything, right? We're Sharks fans and we have a Sharks fan show. But again, we try to keep it even keel.
Oakland Seals fan here.
Nice.
That's way back.
That is way back. But yeah, no, we try to keep it even keel. We try to keep it more or less fair, and we try to not just always say the Sharks are going to win, or when they don't win, the Sharks suck, and trade everybody, right? We try to, keep our heads kind of cool about everything that's going on.
Mongolia is real.
Yeah, that guy really is in Mongolia. It's 7:36 a.m. and he used to live in San Jose. That's fantastic. Thank you for watching, and thank you for tuning in right now.
That is amazing. Wow. I mean, that's
Nobody can beat that. Sorry.
Like, what?
Sorry, Australia.
It's always for me really awesome seeing where everyone's tuning in from, and when we get stuff like that, it's all the way across the world. I mean, again, when we go back to what we had talked about, what we wanted to accomplish on this show, and we're hoping, but by the end of
we weren't thinking international.
No,
I'll tell you that.
We were hoping that by the end of the season we might have like 200 subscribers, right? And people around San Jose might kind of have a better understanding of who we are, but not like we're gonna get recognized places. Like when we go to the game sometimes. I mean, I know I do.
Like getting hit in the shoulder.
You get hit in the shoulder.
Hey, Fin Factor.
Just randomly out in public, people are like, "Oh, Fin Factor, yeah, cool." And it's like, "Oh, sweet." This has been a whole lot of fun, and it's one thing. It's one thing to just kind of do the show and just put it out there, but when people are coming up to you and telling you how much they enjoy what you're doing, there's like a side. That's not like a bravado thing. Like, hey, we're awesome. That's not pumping our tires. It's just it feels great to know that we're kind of talking with the community that likes it and what we're doing is being appreciated and that it's working. So it's been great.
We just had Jake Muzzin saying go from St. Louis saying go Sharks.
Okay.
I'll take it. That's fantastic.
Yeah, sure. Why not?
Whatever. Say go Sharks.
Yeah. Thank you. Appreciate it. Anyway. It's just been awesome. So again, thank you guys so much for doing the live stuff with us. This is. I mean, I like doing the recorded shows.
Right.
That was fun when we started doing the live
recorded shows. We get a little bit more in depth, I think, because
Yeah.
we kind of prepare a little bit more than we
Right.
do for this show because it's so close to after the game. So
Yeah.
we get to prepare more, and we also can get some clips in of post game stuff from the Sharks. And what's that?
849 Twitter followers. So
We're close, man.
One
close. Yeah.
So follow us on Twitter.
The recorded shows are, and we still are going to do a recorded show after each series. So after this series is over, we'll do a recorded episode where we'll kind of break down the episode or break down the series and then look forward, hopefully, to the next series.
Right.
And keys to this game. But speaking of keys to the game, let's go to Game 6.
Okay.
What are your top 3? Let's say 3.
Everything always wants 3 keys.
Well, 1 is not enough. 2 is just kind of like, eh. 3 is just right.
Okay.
4 is just outright wrong.
So okay, well, why don't we go ahead and because I'm not sure in terms of keys what my first thing that I would say. I mean, I would say
Really?
we have to be better 5-on-5, yes, and we talked about power plays and everything else. So beyond that stuff, I have to think about it a little bit more. So do you know what your key would be?
First key, I'm going to go back to what I said the last game.
Okay.
Win those one-on-one battles. They did not do that tonight. I think you need to skate harder and get in those dirty areas. And now that it's an elimination game, you're going to have to take those hits. You're going to have to get in there in those dirty areas and take those hits. Take the punishment. You know that's coming because St. Louis is a large team. I think the Sharks the Sharks are a good hybrid team in that they can play speed, they can play skill, they can play hard hitting. They can play all those different types of games of whatever the team brings. Vegas is a hybrid of speed and hard hitting. Colorado is a hybrid of skill and speed. And I think St. Louis is a hybrid of skill and hard hitting. They're not speed.
Okay.
I think the Sharks can hang still. I think they need to do a better job. They're a little bit banged up, but at this point, everybody's banged up.
Yeah.
You need to just bite the bullet and go in those corners. Know you're going to get hit. Take the hit. Make the play. And that's going to be my first key. Okay. Make the play. Make the play and make that Kane post early in the game. Make the play. Score the goal.
Yeah.
Just bury it. You need to get that goal early. You need to make the play and get in those corners, and that's going to be my 1 key to the game. How
Okay.
about that?
I'll one up you. I'll do 2 keys to the game because
there you go. I got 1, you got 2.
Telling me to do 3, so I'm trying. So I think the first key is the short one, smelling salts. Energy.
Wake up.
Yeah, no, you need energy. You need to go out there. You cannot go out there looking the way that you looked and get away with it. You're not gonna win a game by just trying to rely on your skill and your talent. And you need the energy. You need to put the work boots on. You need to have that blue collar mentality and let your skill do the thing that it can do. But you need to go get that puck. You need to go get your legs moving. Much in the same way where, we start from the defense and move forward, right? Let the defense focus in on that. Let the defense possess the puck, get the puck back, and then let the offense take care of itself, right? So you're good enough offensively to get the puck in the net, to get the job done. You just need to make sure that you're taking care of your own end first, and when you do that, you'll get the puck back, right? That's one of the things I think they need to do is have that energy so that they're able to retrieve that puck and then repossess, and then let the offense just take care of itself. My second key would be remember how you got here because people are just going to say, oh, the refs. So I'll say remember why you're here, okay? There's a lot to be said. Again, we'll go back to Game 7, Round 1. There's a lot to be said for the power of just heart, right? For as much as the crowd was feeding energy into those guys, take a look at Joe Thornton holding that towel up to Joe Pavelski's head as they're skating off, right? The way that the team rallied around that, and yes, the arena rallied around it with the noise, and the city rallied around it too, but the power of heart, if you will, is all I can say. Remember why you're there. Okay, you've got guys that have been banged up, who've played their entire careers without winning a cup. These are guys that you're out there playing for them. You're playing for the guy that's next to you. Okay, and I think they need to remember that. And I think they need to go out there and take a look on the bench, look to their left, look to their right, and say, I'm going to go out there and win this next shift for you, right? Show the guy on the bench what you're made of. Show the guys, why you deserve to win a cup, why you deserve to win this game. Move forward, right? There's a lot that can be said for just that kind of bonding power that is just kind of unspoken and unsaid. And it's a teammate thing. It's camaraderie thing. I think they need to get back to that. Just kind of forget the game for a second and just worry about your teammates. Or not worry, but play for your teammates. And if you can do that, you'll have all the motivation that you need. Going back to my first key, you'll have all the energy that you need. And when you put the energy and the motivation together, again, you're too talented of a team to not put the puck in the net. the fact that you got a goose egg tonight tells me you didn't have the energy and you didn't care enough about the guy sitting to your left and to your right, on the bench. Right, for the cameras, left and right. So I think there's some of that needs to get put into place in terms of keys for the game. The Sharks just need to do a whole lot more in Game 6, and not all of it is just focusing on the X's and O's. I think a lot of it has to do with their energy level, and their compete level. And I think if you get that out of them, you're going to see a much different Sharks team, even if you've got injuries, even if you've got other guys that are stepping in like Radil. You get the buy-in from these guys to fight for each other, and you're going to see a much different Sharks team.
Yep.
Put Paul in the locker room.
What?
Put Paul in the locker room for his motivational speech. You're getting called out by Jason Hilliard.
Huh? Yeah, sometimes you're feeling it, man. So
future coach right here.
Oh. We'll see.
He already started.
Yeah, with the kids.
Yeah.
I'm out there with like the 5-year-olds and 6-year-olds. You gotta look at the bench, at the man next to you, at the toddler next to you. Nah.
Hey, Bobby, I can't read that.
Ricky Bobby.
Smurda?
I can't read it. From Kenya, San Jose Sharks. That's fantastic.
Really? Are you guys pulling our leg right now? I think they're just like, oh yeah, I'm from space.
I don't know. I figured because of the time difference and because of the game time today, we're going to have a lot more international people than we normally do.
I'm surprised in terms of someone being were you?
I mean,
were
Europe,
you from San Jose and moved to Kenya, and you have like a tie to San Jose Sharks, or I mean, what's the tie in there? Because man, from Kenya, just how did you find us, right? So that's amazing. So anyway, she's probably pulling our leg.
I don't know. I think the Sharks are going to bounce back in Game 6 and force a Game 7. I think we'll see handshakes in 7, not 6.
Okay.
I mean, think about it this way. In order to get to a Game 7, one of the teams had to have been up 3-2 at that point in Game 6. Like, there had to have been, mathematically, to be that. So, it doesn't matter how you get there. Just get there.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it sucks having to win 2 in a row, but...
one game at a time, win Game 6.
You got it.
Got to win it.
You got it.
Do you guys want to give a little bit of a preview if we win in Game 7 and go to the finals? What's that going to look like?
I don't want to go ahead. I don't want to jump ahead. I mean, I'm happy to talk about, like, regardless of if we win or lose, and we were talking about a little bit about the offseason stuff, right?
I mean, at this point, it's going to be a Game 7 for the Sharks to move on.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't it be in Game 7 for the NHL Finals?
So...
right?
Why play 16 when you can play 28?
The most possible games you could possibly play right there.
That's like no break.
Has anyone ever won?
Yeah. Super producer Jason is not happy about that.
What?
Having no break. Game 7.
Every 2 days we have hockey.
Every other day. We're recording every other day.
It's fun. I'm having a good time.
My wife will be thrilled.
Let's see. Yeah, I mean, again, why play 16 when you can play 28, right? Yeah, I mean, I think you're right. Look, the Sharks are a really good team, but going with all of the injuries and the ups and downs that they've had, it's no surprise that the series that we've played so far have all gone to 7. So, yeah, I mean, why wouldn't Boston go to 7? Boston, I think, to me, would be the ultimate test, right? That's like the end boss, right? So, to me, they've got, they got everything. They've got really high-level skill. They've got one line that can do it all for you, and that are a phenomenal line, but that doesn't mean that the other lines are any lesser in terms of their ability to score on you. So they have like the Colorado Avalanche top line, but then they also have like depth as well. So then you look at their blue line. Their blue line is a really solid blue line as well. And then of course in goal they got Tuukka Rask. So yeah, if you're going to get past the Boston Bruins, there's nothing there that indicates it's not going to go 7 if you do.
I would hope it goes to 6 so that they could win at home.
Sure.
The Sharks will win at home because Boston's going to have home ice advantage. So what sucks is Boston knows that either the Sharks or St. Louis is going to win. They have home ice, so they don't have to travel anymore. So they're preparing and getting ready for that Game 1. Whereas if it was Carolina, let's say, that won, right? Then Carolina would have to wait to see who won this series to figure out the travel plans and then get there. Whereas like if it was a guarantee that San Jose or St. Louis, I don't know, they'd still have to wait, but it's just a different mindset kind of where they can wait, and the Sharks or the St. Louis Blues will have to travel to them and then get another day or two and then play. Yeah. So they're already ready to go. Yeah, yeah. So it's going to be tough either way. But at the same time, we talked about this before, when you get when you sweep, you're sitting there for a while and you're getting rusty. And there is rust because you're not doing that game speed in practice.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit different. Even though the Sharks and the Blues at this point are going to be banged up. So, I mean, Pietrangelo took a big shot tonight from Dylan. He destroyed him.
Oh, yeah?
Did you see that?
I was kind of going back and forth between radio and TV.
Oh,
So.
Pietrangelo, I think he dumped the puck in, and Dylan kind of read it. Or I think he was trying to go around him or something. And Dylan, instead of taking the boards, like just stepped out and just destroyed him.
Nice.
And he went to the bench, and he was, as Marshall said, he was leaking. So he was bleeding from the hit.
He was leaking.
Yeah, he was leaking.
See, and again, like that's great. I would have loved to see more of not the injury and the leaking part necessarily, but I would love to see more of that. More of, okay, go get it, right? So I can slam you, because that's basically what's happening with us. The St. Louis Blues are out hitting us. They're wearing us down. It really is what it comes down to.
Every
So-
series, I feel like the Sharks have been out hit because they just
Well,
partially because they not tonight, but they possess the puck more often than not.
Let me rephrase that then. I don't mean to say out hit in terms of the number of hits. I mean to say out hit in terms of when they have the ability to throw the body on you, they do it. When the Sharks have the ability to hit you against the boards, they usually pull up, stop, and try to poke check it.
Yeah.
Right? And I think, yes, there's an investment there, a physical investment. Bang them up, bruise them up. We see it with Erik Karlsson right now, right? They invested in it, and it's working for them. We probably won't see him in Game 6, and if we do, it's going to be in very limited capacity, right?
Yeah.
They're not going to have to deal with him all game long.
I think we see Karlsson in Game 6.
But again, even if we do see him in Game 6, you think that he's going to play just mainly power play minutes and a few offensive zone
I was actually
starts?
a little shocked to see him tonight. I thought he was going to rest,
yeah.
but he was there. So it wasn't as bad as what I think we thought it was after Game 4.
Yeah. So, but
Right.
I think that too many times, especially guys like Timo, right? I mean, we saw Kane throw some hits today. That's great. But a guy like Timo, same thing. You know, I'd like to see him really pound someone into the boards.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a big kid. Use your body, man. Like I just don't like the skate up, pull up and stop, and then throw your stick out to try to poke check the puck away. Run him over, right? Like run him over.
Yeah.
So I don't know why we're not doing that. You know, if they're injured and they don't want to, you know, injure themselves further by throwing the hit, that's one thing, I guess. And it'll be really interesting to see, you know, after the A series is done or after these playoffs are done for the San Jose Sharks, rather,
who's hurt,
to
who's
see
playing with what.
who's playing
Yeah.
with what. That's always a fun day, is to
Yeah.
see who's had what going on. So I don't know. I'm expecting that there should be some injury to these guys that I would normally think would be running around and taking liberties out there. Because if there's not an injury, then I'm really scratching my head. Like, why weren't we doing this? So,
David Nguyen, I remember when the Sharks had Owen Nolan, other teams were scared of the Sharks' play style. They were a much different team back then with, what was the coach? Daryl Sutter.
Daryl Sutter?
Daryl Sutter.
Yeah, Daryl.
Fun story about him. But they were a dump and chase team with Daryl Sutter. Much different style, different team. So, yes, I think under the Daryl Sutter team, that era with Owen Nolan, they played much more like St. Louis, where they hit you and punished you. Exactly what Paul was saying, like how what the Blues are doing is working in the long run. We saw the Sharks were winning earlier in the series, I guess you could say, but the Blues are winning the war rather than the battle. So now it's starting to help benefit the Blues in investing in the series and hitting those hits earlier on.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate because, to me, the Blues are taking a bunch of cheap shots, head shots, really. I mean, Couture, Hurdle, who's the other one? The other guy?
Pavs got one today.
Pavs today. And there was another one.
Erik Karlsson got a couple
Karlsson.
times,
Braun was
Stick to
another
the
one.
face. Oh,
Just
yeah,
a
Braun,
lot of
that's right.
headshots. It's a lot of headshots. This is what the league wants to get rid of, and yet they're doing nothing about it. And I'm not blaming the league. I'm not blaming the refs. It's a part of the game, and it's unfortunate because it's kind of weak. Where I feel like the Blues cannot match up against the Sharks without hurting them, and I think they knew that, and I think they had to take out a couple of the key players in order to win.
Okay.
That's my thoughts. That's part of the game. I'm
Yeah.
not saying it's not part of the game, but it's an unfortunate part of the game that I don't like to see.
Well, and I think, again, you know, the Blues are doing the things that they need to do to try to get the upper hand and try to win. And if that means, I'm not saying they're just straight play dirty, but if that means, you know, you're hitting more often than the Sharks are, and consequently you're getting a couple, you know, up too high or something like that. Hey, if the refs aren't calling it, okay, why wouldn't they stop, right?
Yeah.
Or why would they stop? Why wouldn't they just keep doing it? Because they're not getting called on it, so it makes sense. Now, whether or not we see that as dirty play, okay, sure, but again, a lot of that does kind of fall on the refs for being able to see those things, and if they don't, well, you just got to play through it, which sucks because when you're getting headshots, you got to play through it. That's not what you want to hear. You want to hear, well, stop hitting me in the head, right? So, but again, I think the St. Louis Blues are just doing, what they know is working for them, and what's working for them is constantly hitting the Sharks. And if they happen to get one up high, hopefully nobody sees it, and maybe it's not intentional, maybe it is, I don't know. But if the refs aren't calling it, they're gonna keep doing it. So
it's a good comment from Nathaniel Arias. Why is it the Stanley Cup playoffs?
Colorado fan.
Why is it the Stanley Cup playoffs tend to be 1,000 times better than the NBA playoffs?
Because hockey is 1,000 times better than basketball.
Well, period. I'll tell you right now, part of it has to do with, obviously it's a different type of game, a different game. But I think the NBA versus the NHL has more talent spread throughout the teams.
Yes.
Where we see the Sharks ending their season, right? And they're losing to these teams that aren't even in playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
You rarely see that in the NBA unless you're benching your players, your starters. The other thing is hockey is more, NHL is more of a team sport versus NBA. The NBA, you only have starting 5 guys.
Yeah.
And hockey, you're starting 18 guys a night. 17 really, because you have one that's a backup goalie. So it's different in that aspect, I guess. The other thing is, like, if you have one all-star player, Edmonton, and you have nobody else around them, you can't really win that many games enough or even win a cup. Whereas the NBA, you have one all-star player,
LeBron.
you could probably, if they're healthy, LeBron, you could probably get at least to the playoffs, right? Now it's different when you get to the playoffs, you can shut them down and stuff. But and also in the NBA, how often do you see an 8th seed beat a 1st seed? And in this year alone, we saw 8th and 7th rounds beat
every wild card advanced in the first round.
Both 8th and 7th rounds in both sides. So 4 teams that should not have won the first round won the first round.
Yep.
You just don't see that in the NBA.
But
so
that's the beauty
better.
of it, right?
Right. Yeah. I'm not saying it's not.
Yeah.
I mean, before the NBA season started, who is going to win this year? You don't even know basketball. Who's going to win this year?
Golden State Warriors.
Not because you're a fan or because you're the Bay Area. Everybody just knows.
Yeah.
It's going to be the Warriors.
No,
if the Warriors lost or if the Warriors didn't win, it would be their own fault, right?
I was bored, so I watched one of the games. That's
Playoff
just me.
Games?
Yeah.
Recently?
Yeah, just the other day.
Yeah.
I was bored,
Last night?
so I watched one. Yeah.
Was it yesterday's game?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was.
Do you know Steph Curry's brother?
Seth
is playing?
Right? Yeah. No, so I
pretty
know
cool, though.
I know a few things right here and there because they're actually kind of fun. The Warriors are kind of fun to watch.
I like
ball movement and everything.
Exactly.
I like that. I like the like where you're assisting each other. That's why when I play hockey or played hockey, like I was rarely shooting. I was more often trying to set the play up. Right, so I get the puck and I'd be looking. Before I get the puck, I'm looking around like who can I pass the puck to or who's coming, close to me. So as soon as I get it, I know where I'm going with it or who I'm trying to hit. And a lot of times I'll get, not recently because recently I've kind of sucked, but like earlier in my playing career, if you want to call it that, like I would just basically I get the puck, I'd fire it across, and people are going, "How did you even see him?" Like because I'm looking before I even get the puck, because that's my mind state was kind of like playmaking. So being able to see the Warriors passing the ball around the way that they do, and to somebody who's just wide open by himself, and then you got a guy running from like the free throw line out to the 3-point line, jumping, trying to swat a ball away. It's like it's too late, bro. I'm shooting it, right? So
splash.
Yeah, no, that is kind of they are kind of fun to watch, but I don't care, right? I mean, if it was, let me put it this way: for football, first of all, if it was the Super Bowl versus if it was a preseason game for the Sharks. Saddle up for that preseason game, buddy, because I could care less about the Super Bowl.
Really? You don't even watch the Super Bowl?
I'm being dead serious. If I had the option between picking one or the other,
Super Bowl and a preseason hockey
You got
game?
it, buddy.
Oh.
I'll just watch hockey. I could care less.
I love hockey,
Sorry,
and I don't even
I
like
could
watching
not
preseason.
care less. I'll have to say, because people have been grilling me on that one. I could not care less. So, I don't care. But yeah, no, for me, it's hockey or bust. I'm a big hockey fan. So.
I know. I mean, the reason I like the Warriors is because they are more of a team style.
Sure.
Moving the ball around. I like it as well.
Mm-hmm.
The rest, you're not going to understand this, but the rest of the league, what they were playing was isolation play, where like LeBron's team, right?
Everybody moves away, and then he has the one-on-one.
It's one-on-one.
Yeah.
And it's so boring. It's so boring. And I think what the Warriors did is they're helping, just like the NHL, when you see a team win, what did they do? I'm going to copy that because that's working.
Yeah.
So they're kind of changing the trend of going more towards that, which to me is a much more exciting style.
See, and the other thing I'll say about why hockey is more enjoyable, at least for me, is again when you look at or why there's so much more parity, right, in the league, and why an 8th seed can beat a 1st seed in hockey, but not so much in basketball. Because like in basketball, you have 1, 2, a handful of good players. That's really all you need. In hockey, if you have a handful of good players, yeah, you might make it into the playoffs.
Colorado.
But if you look at Colorado, right? But then you're probably going to lose out. Even if they didn't lose to the Sharks, they probably weren't going to go much farther than that, right? So, no offense to Nathaniel Horaz, but I mean that team's probably not going much farther than that, right? You kind of need to have a whole team, and that's why depth is so important, right? When you start paring it down, you go to basketball, you only need a handful of guys to really be good. They can kind of run the table. In single player sports like tennis, if you're the best tennis player, you're probably beating all the other tennis players that aren't as good as you, because it's your one individual that is running everything, right? Sport. Exactly, but that's what I'm saying. The more we pare it down, right, from having to have 18 skaters that are solid and play well together, to having 5 guys on a court that are probably going to run the table, to having one person that is playing on a tennis court by him or herself. Like that individual skill level means a whole heck of a lot more when you don't have to have like everybody taking shifts, right? So to me, it's the ultimate team sport. It's always kind of moving, and if you have any one line that's not clicking, it doesn't matter how good your top line is, because another team that's deeper can exploit that one line or those 2 lines that they're deeper than, and they have to take those line changes. So that to me, it's just more interesting. It's faster. It's heavier hitting. There's enough goals, but there's also not like an abundance of goals. Like in basketball, I only watch the last 4 minutes if I'm really interested in the game, because who cares how many times they shot up until
more
then.
About the lead than the score.
Right. And like, again, I'm going to bash soccer for a little bit here. For soccer, it's like how many shots on goal in a game?
Soccer's a chess
6?
game. It's a 90-minute chess game.
Sure, but how many shots on goal do you see?
By the way, I forgot to mention this.
Yeah.
And I wish I got a picture.
Okay.
I saw Chris Wondolowski before the game, walking into the game tonight. And I
had him open the door.
I went up and shook his hand. He was with his daughter. I didn't want to bug him too much. Shook his hand. I said congratulations, and he's a very approachable person if you ever see him. Very much like a hockey player. He was very appreciative. And I don't know if you know this, if you're not a MLS fan or an Earthquakes fan, Chris Wondolowski was 2 goals away from owning the record. 1 goal away from tying, and 2 goals away from owning the record over Landon Donovan for the most goals ever scored in the career of an MLS player, and he scored 4 yesterday in the game. So he obliterated the record, which is fantastic. So I saw him, shook hands, and I wish I got a selfie. I should next time.
You should have got a selfie, and you should have told him about Black and Azul, which you can do right now.
You're right. Black and Azul is our sister show on the same set as we have here, just with Earthquake stuff. Because why would they put shark stuff?
Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
Right. So if you're an Earthquakes fan, MLS fan, Black and Azul, you can look them up on YouTube and give them a follow. And they are fantastic. They're good analysts. They do a once-a-week show, just like we normally do, but just not during playoffs. And you should check them out. You'll like them very much. We'll also plug our EASHL team on NHL 19. We have both PS4 and Xbox One. The PS4 team we play on because we have PlayStations. We don't have Xbox. Boo, Xbox. Patrick Cabral runs the Xbox team. And in fact, I think he was hosting last night at 9 p.m. So nice. If you search the Fin Factor or TFF under the abbreviation, you will find either team. I think we are full on PlayStation.
So I actually just kicked a bunch of people that have been sitting idle. One of them is our Super Key Group Joe, because he told me to go ahead and do that. He told me to, so I did it.
Single tier Joe.
I know, it's okay. But so it is private still, because for some reason somebody changed our jerseys, and I'm like, oh, okay. So I made it private, and I haven't had that problem since. So the thing for you to do, again, search TFF as the abbreviation, and when you see that, go ahead and request to join. I will add you in, no problems, as long as I'm not full. I'm pretty close to full, though, so I think I only kicked like 4 people, 5 people maybe. So if you are going to be active, please go ahead and jump in there and play some games. We would love for you to bring a friend or 2 friends or 3 friends, however many you guys play together. That'd be great. Because, again, all I'm trying to do is, again, build up that arena so I can have, it's like the Barbie Funhouse arena.
Right now, the arena is at the stage where you're at the like group arenas, right? Or not arena, but
so
like
it's
practice
It's
facility.
like the junior level 2 or whatever. There's like 4
Basically,
rinks.
It's what the Barracuda are building.
Sure. Okay,
the
yeah.
Barracuda they're under construction, or they're going to be under construction for Solar for America, right?
But for the first time, see now when you open the hockey bags, you get cool stuff. One of the things I got was the shark head.
Oh,
Couldn't use it. Now I can use it.
Oh.
So first game that we have, don't smash that X button. Wait for the intro because I think you'll see the shark head come down. I don't know.
we
I'm
also
interested,
we also have a Twitch channel if you're interested in watching, and I'm sure we're losing a bunch of followers right now.
Yeah.
Whatever, watching. We have a Twitch channel, twitch.tv/thefin-factor. If you'd like to, I'm recording everything that's going on there, so you can go look at our past videos. We played last night, and I wanted to rage quit last night after that last game. Long story. I'm not even gonna get into it. It was awful. We got destroyed 6-0.
The problem is we're in division.
Like today, the Sharks.
The problem is we're in Division 4 in EASHL, but a lot of the players don't belong in Division 4. We belong in like Division 7.
Yeah.
So we've had a couple guys that have been putting us in the backpack and carrying us all the way. So when they don't play, we get annihilated. So especially if you're good, that'd be great. Come and join the team.
Not a necessity.
Not a
However,
necessity. No,
if you watch us play, not a necessity.
I would say play time is a bigger thing. Play often. I don't care how good you are. I care that you play often. So there you go. I think that is everything.
Well, let's
else?
plug our store one more time.
Okay.
We have thefinfactor.com, and we have 10% off, and it's playoff mode right down there in the coupon code. And you get 10% off your entire order, how much stuff you put in the cart.
So when you go and buy 5 hats, it'll get 10% off of those 5 hats. So there you go.
And also, when you do buy stuff, because we've had people buy stuff, send us a picture, and we'll highlight it on the show.
Please do. And again, I'll plug the socials. So at the Fin Factor for Facebook and Twitter, at Fin Factor for Instagram. Like a lot of times we're putting things up on there, especially in Twitter during the games. We're going kind of crazy. So there's that. Also, please again do subscribe so that you know when we are going live and we can have these interactions, because I'm having a great time. I hope you guys are too. And as you saw, we had somebody from the Colorado Avalanche who's been with us since that series and continues to come back. Yep. We must be doing something right.
We had a Vegas Knights fan tonight too.
There you go. So folks from the other teams seem to enjoy us as well. So that's great. And again, as long as everyone's being cordial, we don't mind. So just go in there and talk about your teams and everything. It's all well and good. We're happy to take your comments and your questions as we do these live shows. So for super producer Jason, Super Key Grip Joe is out today, but I am Paul.
And I'm Aaron.
And we will see you
Tuesday. What day is it?
Tuesday. Yeah, Tuesday.
We'll see Tuesday.
We'll see you Tuesday.
Bye.
Bye-bye.